Michael, I'm sitting here looking at you bright and early this morning, all decked out here, a la GQ, you know.
Yeah.
This is the new Michael Keaton here.
No, it always kind of looks like this. I have holes in the suit. I've discovered I have moths in my. I turn this on. I'm sorry to say it. I know it kind of shoots down the image, but there are actually moth holes in the back. Fortunately, it's true. I've discovered I've got moths in my house. Do you know anything I can do about it?
Well, I imagine exterminator.
Instead of mothballs? This is an extreme woman. Exterminate the place. No.
Michael, it is good to see you because we last talked when you did Mr. Mom,
right.
which was, my gosh, what a hit for you.
Yeah.
And of course, before
So I got the suit.
Is that the suit for Mr. Mom? You mean you just walk off with the wardrobe? But anyway, now here you are, Johnny Dangerously.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time that we talked during Mr. Mom, you said you had this thing coming out.
Yeah.
And so it's here now. If this movie had been done in the 30s, who would have played the part you're playing?
If this particular part would have been done in the movies, probably Jack Oakey, because it's a comedy. But or Jack Carson. Ooh, Jack Carson would have been great, except he was too young, right? Or he would have been. Anyway, if it would have been done seriously, maybe John Garfield or Jimmy Cagney or Humphrey Bogart, somebody like that. But a comedy, I don't know. I made no attempt to do Jimmy Cagney because two reasons: A, I can't do him, and B, I didn't want anyone to think that it might be making fun of him because he's like maybe my #1 guy.
You're really into Cagney films,
Oh yeah,
huh?
I love him.
For a long time?
Since I've been a kid. When I was a kid, he was my #1. I thought there was nobody like Jimmy Cagney because I love these movies, gangster movies. I still like them, and so that's why I thought. But they are funny. I mean, if you look at them now, some of the scenes they play straight are hysterical, you know. So what we did was did a movie that was. We started out with a satire, but unfortunately, most people don't really get satire. So what we did was made it just a very funny comedy that happens to be a gangster movie.
Now, the word is that at one time, Stallone was approached about doing this role. You know about that?
Yeah, him, Sean Connery, James Caan. No, I don't think so. If they did, it would have been a huge error. No, not a lot of laughs. Let's face it. No, he's a nice guy, but no, I don't think that's true.
You don't think Stallone was approached?
No, but he might have been.
Yeah.
But I don't think so.
But anyway, when they came...
What do you think? Do you think it would have been good?
I
mean, you would have talked.
It would have been different. It would have been
Yeah.
entirely different. Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, you're doing it, and that's the important thing.
That's right.
I want to ask you something. I am, Maureen Stapleton is one of my heroines. Love that woman's acting. Now, did you really hit her?
Yeah.
I mean, you really made contact.
Yeah, I had to punch her out a couple of times. No, she's so great that she's maybe the most. Might be the best actress. Probably is the best actress I've ever worked with. Because that's not much of a statement because she's so great, but she is fun. And you know what? There's no big deal about what she does to her. You know what I mean? If you asked her about technique or anything, I don't think she'd even be able to tell you. She's just not making any big deal about what she does, and yet when you watch her and see her working, man, she is right on the money. She's fun. And when my mother found out, that I was working with Maureen Stapleton, that was a big treat because she's a fan, and a real sweet lady. We've become real good friends. When I go to New York, I see her.
What she's doing here is a
departure
little...
for her.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it ever? Now, was she nervous about that?
I think a little bit because it gets a little crazy sometimes, the movie, and I don't think she was quite ready for all these people she's going to be involved with. I mean, she's come from some pretty legitimate theater,
And now the crazies
and
are...
now she's surrounded by lunatics. But she just went right with it. And there were a couple things that they changed for her, and I'm really glad they did because she deserves a little respect, and some of the stuff they kind of fixed up for her just because there's no reason she has to say or do those certain things, But she didn't request it. It wasn't like her complaining. She was willing to do anything. She's real terrific.
Tell me about the opening scene, which I love, where you're in the pet store. What are you going to remember most about doing that scene?
I'm probably going to remember how hard it was to get the little thing to stick to their hair on the dogs, because for some reason it doesn't stick to that stuff very well. I would have to go back over it. I'd be talking to the kid and just lay one on. I'd look and go, "There's nothing on it," you know, because it
That was the
come right
price
off
tag
the
you're
hair.
trying to put on.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do the puppies think about that? They go along with that?
Well, we had the puppies actually loved it. Puppies actually had a great time. It was the turtles who hated it. But they're temperamental.
And you had a parrot in there?
Yeah, a lot of animals and kids. Come on, how you not gonna like me?
Your agent? Did you talk to your agent about that scene?
No,
you know,
not
trying
that.
kids
No,
and animals.
Yeah. Well, that's okay with me. I do it with kids and animals every time. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Mom, that was just the greatest, because you get tired or you start taking yourself too seriously. You got these these 3 great little kids running around to have some laughs with.
So you've already got another film lined up.
Done. Another film done.
It's finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your dramatic debut.
Yeah. Yeah.
You worried about how the public's going to take to that?
Not now. I'm not. But, you know, maybe when it comes around, I might start biting my nails a little bit just because it's another movie out. But no, because I don't think I don't think it can. It's not that drastic of a departure, really. You know, if I would have, you know, maybe done
It's
the
not
Albert
King Lear.
Einstein story, you know, I'd be in trouble.
Okay.
No, it's not King Lear, right? If I'd done Lear, I could be worried right about now.
Well, Michael, don't worry, because Johnny Dangerously is a lot of fun. I enjoyed you tremendously
Thank you.
in it.
Thank
and
you.
I hope you. It's
And when I see Sly Stallone, I'll mention it to him, and maybe we'll,
yeah,
we'll
check
get to
that
the
out
bottom
for
of
me.
this.
Okay. Thank you, Michael.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
This was pretty good.
You're fun to work with.
Thanks.
I like you. Yeah. Okay, Tom, what are we going to do about these?
Thank you. Let me just check one thing real quick here. Okay, Bobbie, it's all yours.
Michael, in the 30s, if this movie had been made in the 30s, who would have been playing your role? So you've always been into Cagney-type movies? So you've always been a Cagney fan? There's talk that at one time Sylvester Stallone was approached to do this movie. Is it true? Well, it would have been a different movie, wouldn't it? Did you really have to hit Maureen Stapleton? Was Maureen Stapleton nervous about doing this role? It's such a departure. Do you worry about how the public will accept you in a serious role? What are you going to remember most about doing the opening scene in the pet store? That's where you put the price tag on? How do the puppies feel about all that? Okay, I'll just give you reactions now.
Okay.